Hi, I'm Dana, and today I really want to talk about whether or not autistic educators should exist. I need to make a bunch of disclaimers before we get into this video. So first of all, I am talking about people who are similar to me, people who don't have qualifications, people who aren't necessarily educated in autism, who think that they're able to educate others. I'm not talking about people who are trained psychologists, psychiatrists, counsellors, therapists, whatever else, who have done genuine study into autism and preferably are autistic themselves, to be fair, educating people. I think those people are brilliant. I think we need more of them. I think having more people who are actually trained and understand what they're talking about and know that they're not spreading misinformation would be fantastic. But I'm talking about specifically the many people that are around online now that are similar to me, that are the same as me essentially, who are making content about autism that is realistically based purely on experience. I can read stuff online, you know, I can watch other people's videos, I can watch TikToks. I'm very aware that I'm not educated on autism. I have educated myself on autism. I do not think that I'm educated on autism because it comes from such unreliable sources, you know? And I do feel like I'm quite skeptical of a lot of things. Like we've had the whole thing of everyone on TikTok talking about how autistic people have DMT in their pee. We have hallucinogenic pee. And I was gonna be like, oh, come on now. You know, I would hope that I'm not someone who is ever going to spread or ever has spread misinformation. I know that I'm sometimes behind on language. I don't always use the right terminology, but I would hope that I'm not like straight up misinforming people. And I would also hope that I make it very clear that I'm not trying to educate people. I'm sharing my experiences and things that I've learned about myself, and it's all, frankly, very me focused. It's all about me. And if other people are able to listen to what I have to say and listen to what I've learned about myself and they can apply that to themselves and their lives and gain something from it, that is awesome. That is what this channel is all about. But I'm not at any point trying to educate people on autism, you know? As much as I'm aware that neurotypical people may come, I've gotten comments, I know that you guys are like here now, you know, as much as neurotypical people might come here to try and learn more about the autistic experience, and I'm sure they probably do because I'm talking about being autistic, I'm also not here to educate them about autism. I'm purely talking about my life and my experiences and things that I've been through, and that's why it is like quite deeply personal and quite vulnerable a lot of the time, because it's my experiences. I'm never aiming to educate anybody. But I've been watching lots and lots of people pop up because I enjoy watching other people create content about autism, you know, it's inspiring for me. It can inspire various channels of like discussion and content. I can learn more about myself, you know, like there's a lot of very positive things that come from creating content about autism, and there's a lot of autistic content creators and like ADHD and neurodivergent in general that I really enjoy and really like and really think they're doing a great job you know, sort of normalizing being autistic and showing what it actually is like to be autistic and the like. And they're not trying to educate people either per se, you know, just because someone may learn something from a video doesn't mean that the person making the video is trying to educate others. But the thing that has popped up that I do think is quite dangerous and just generally really not okay is the people who are trying to counsel people who are trying to be life coaches to people who are like saying that they can essentially fix autistic people who are essentially monetizing themselves as being some sort of saviour for autistic people. And some people aren't even monetizing it, like they're not actively asking you to pay them for it, but they are making videos with like scientific words, scientific looking backup. I don't know what that was about. I thought I was going to like do something that needed quotation marks, obviously. But you know, people are putting themselves into like the position of being a teacher, and the things they are sharing are things or trying to teach about and trying to educate about are things that they realistically do not have the education themselves for in the first place, never mind start trying to teach other people. And this has led to lots and lots of people that are sharing just straight up misinformation, sharing things that are not true, sharing things that are in the very beginnings of studies that might be true at some point, but we don't know that yet, and you're sharing it as though it's a fact when this study could fail, the study may not be wide enough. There's so many issues within a lot of the things that they're discussing in the first place, and they don't acknowledge any of that because they want to be able to teach you about how there's DMT in your urine or whatever else is crackpot bit of bullshit's coming up, you know? And we don't have to theorise on how that could be damaging and dangerous for the autistic community because there's already absolute swathes of the general population that think that autism's caused by vaccines because of one disproven defunct study from some dude that I think might not have even actually been a proper doctor. Like there was so much around that situation that was so obviously a load of bullshit, But if you spread something around and make it sound like it's true, people will start thinking that it's true, especially if you're putting yourself in the seat of being an educator when you're actually just sharing some thoughts and opinions. I very, very much think that the internet has provided a pedestal, is that the word I'm looking for? Sort of like a jumping off board, a trampoline. You know, it's provided this space where people can just say things, and if you sound confident enough in saying it, if it sounds like it might kind of make sense, people just accept it as true. And that's where I think it's really, really dangerous to not stress the fact that you're talking about your experience, or you're talking about a study that's just come out or whatever else. You know, people don't include the context. And I do think to a point that that's the issue with short form content. You know, you're trying to be snappy, you're trying to catch people's attention. So of course you're not going to start the video by being like, so this might not be true and it came out like this and it's this and this and this. You know, you're not going to start with the boring stuff, but people also aren't finishing with it. So there's just videos that are dropping misinformation, and that's all you get. And it sounds convincing, they seem confident, they're having their fucking bio or their like username, how they're an autistic life coach and they're autistic this. And like, you're not. You're just an autistic person that's put yourself in a space that you maybe don't necessarily belong in, and you're probably going to damage people, and I think it's really dangerous. And the people that are just making content on like YouTube and TikTok as autistic educators, I don't mind so much. You know, I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think they necessarily should be, but I'm not about to like take it on myself to like start commenting on their videos that they need to like not miseducate people or whatever else. I don't comment very often on anything, to be honest, but especially on stuff I don't like, I will just scroll past. And as much as I don't think they're helping people in the way that they'd like to think they are, I also don't think they're as dangerous as the people that are marketing themselves and trying to get autistic people to give them money. And I especially bring this up because I've had a couple of comments and even a couple of people email me saying that if I need money, I should, you know, be doing like one-on-one sessions with other autistic people, autistic counselling, things like that. And they are things that I would be interested in doing, but I would need a hell of a lot more education before I would even consider doing it, because I barely understand myself, you know? Like, the entire point of me making this type of content is that I'm learning more about myself and trying to understand more about myself. It would be, I think, so irresponsible and just plain stupid for me to start trying to like claim that I can help other people improve their lives or figure anything out about themselves. I find it hard enough to figure out anything about me. So it does blow my mind a little bit that people are prepared to be like, hey, autistic people, give me money and I'll help you out, because there's no guarantee that you can. And a lot of the people that are doing it are in my kind of position where they do not have the education to be doing so. You know, like I said at the start, if someone is a trained counsellor and they want to like specify that they're autistic and they'd like to help autistic people, I think that's really cool. I think that's a great thing to pay for if you can afford to. If it's just some random like me, please do not give them your money. Even if they're claiming that they're a life coach or they're this or they're that, please check their like qualifications and their credentials, because there is so much just crap that you can get online now. Like, I technically have a level 2 in understanding autism. I don't even know what kind of qualification it is. I just know it's a level 2. It could be fucking anything. And I could very easily start like slamming that on a website and be like, yeah guys, I'm educated, come pay me. And I wouldn't, because I really... Number one, you're scamming fucking autistic people. I'm sorry, you are. A lot of us are a little bit more naive. A lot of us, especially when you're saying that you're going to help people, you are looking straight into the eyes of someone that's struggling and being like, I can save you if you just give me $50 a month or whatever, you know? Like, it's already just scammy and a bit gross. But also, what are you going to do when that person's life doesn't improve? What are you going to do when they keep giving you this money and keep asking you for things and keep expecting you to fix their life and you can't because you're not trained and you don't know what you're doing? You know, I doubt they're going to see a refund. I would assume that a lot of the people that are doing this are in similar situations again to me, where it's like, I don't have money and I would really like to have some money because then I could, you know, buy food and get nice things. And I get why you would look at that as an option to earn money, but it is such a selfish and self-centered solution to do so, and you are not for a moment thinking about the people that are actually going to give you money. Or if you are, and if you think you're genuinely going to help, I frankly think that you're lying to yourself. Like, quite frankly, to market yourself as any sort of educator at all, not even like specifically within autistic communities, if you market yourself as any sort of educator when you don't actually have the training, you don't actually have like the credentials to back it up, I think that you have one hell of an ego and you don't care if you damage and hurt people, and I think it's really gross. I don't think it should happen whatsoever. And I also definitely like do not want to contribute to it, you know? And as this like channel grows a little bit and I get more followers, I can see how people can feel perhaps like they've been almost, not necessarily coerced, but like sort of pushed into it by their audience, because like I say, I've had the comments and a couple of emails from people saying that that's something they would like from me. They would like to be able to like pay me to like have an hour-long Zoom call or whatever, where they get like my opinion on their life and the things they're struggling with and whatever. And it's one of those things where I think it breeds like a parasocial relationship for one. I think a lot of people would be paying me to spend an hour with them like essentially as a friend and give them some advice about their life, and I'm not trained to. I could not give them good advice, and it's just breeding a friendship that's very one-sided and a bit weird. Like, I don't think that that's what the people that have emailed me are intending for, but like I think that's what would happen, and I don't think that the people who are doing that, like not the people that have emailed me, but the people that are actively letting people pay them to like get a bit of advice about being autistic or whatever, I don't think they're considering how much a lot of those people are realistically probably looking for a friend. They're people that are struggling and they're just reaching out to any field that they feel might help them, and that's completely fine. That's nothing to look down on. You're reaching out for help, and that's quite a brave step to take, but they're not reaching to places that are actually going to help them, and I think a lot of them will make it worse. And like I honestly just can't think of many things that would be worse than paying me to like essentially be a therapist, And that's also the thing, is that a lot of these people that are going to like autistic life coaches and whatever else will be basically expecting a therapist. They'll be expecting someone who can help them work through their problems and fix their life, and they're getting some random autistic person that's a bit too big for their boots and thinks they can do more than they can. Like, I'm sorry, but you are. That's what it be. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong at all with sharing autistic experiences. And like, I know that there's autistic content creators that also give talks, and that's another thing that I don't have an issue with. If you're getting paid to give a talk about like your experiences, and I'm like, yes, I suppose realistically, technically you are educating people on autism, but also you're doing it for your experiences. You're not like taking an individual autistic person acting like you're going to like change their life or help them out or whatever. You're giving a general overview to probably a whole room of people on what it's like to exist as an autistic person. I don't think there's anything wrong with that in the slightest. Get that cash. But when it's specifically towards autistic people and they don't have the training, I think it's basically a scam, to be completely honest with you. I think it's really gross. It is also one of those things where I feel like I've got a lot of black and white thinking about it. I feel like it's very strange that we live in a society anyway where we have to like pay for therapists in life, and it's like, you could just, speak to me. There's a lot of things I find very strange and that I don't think should necessarily be monetized, but we live in a capitalistic society, so I understand why it is. But I don't think that this should be one of them, I'd love to see more people talk about the training that they're undergoing to be able to help autistic people in this way. I would love to see more people actually getting the qualifications and credentials to help autistic people in that way. But I'm not currently seeing it. I'm just seeing people that have a lot of time and a need for money and don't seem to mind that they're essentially scamming autistic people. And like I say, I'm sure a lot of them do really think that they're helping and really want to help, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. And I think a lot of people are going to be very, very crushed when they realise that they've paid someone hundreds of dollars or whatever and not actually had their life improved any. So as always, I would love to know what your views and opinions and thoughts on this are. I feel like this has been a bit of a disjointed video, but I'm not entirely sure I gave like full proper context to how big of a thing this has been on TikTok for anyone that's not over there. But I also feel like this is an issue on YouTube and Instagram and all the places as well. I don't feel like it is really a TikTok contained issue. So I hope you understood what the hell I was talking about, and I would love to know what you think about it if you did. I make content here on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays, and you can follow me over on TikTok if you want to see daily content from me, and I also post over on Instagram sporadically, so that will be linked down below, along with links to my Ko-fi and Patreon. If you wanted to send me some money, you can donate me a little cash for doing these videos, but there's no expectation for you to. You don't have to. There's a lot going on in the world right now that needs money more than I do. I will be fine. But if you wanted to, it, as I say, will also be linked down below with my other links to various social media channels, so you can just keep listening to me chatter on and on and on with limited to no context. But for now, whoever you are and wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.